effects here. So we're going to look at what's happening with Bitcoin. And we're just going to look at the commonly used tradingview.com charts. And we're really just going to look at Bitcoin because Bitcoin basically floats all boats and sinks all boats. So hopefully if you're invested in any altcoins, they are real world worthy, real projects that can be used and are gaining traction in the real world, and have the potential to gain real traction in the real world or be used in the real world, or they're just junk. There's a lot of them out there. So what's it doing? Well, this is the day chart, and we can see that it has had a nice run up starting back in March, last week or two of March, and all the way up into first week of May. And then it has kind of chopped and gone sideways here for a while. May, and we're well into June now. So basically a month. Okay. Now, a couple of things here to note. These lines here, all these lines that you see, I've had them there for months now. And if you look back here, all the way back here, when this was going up, 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 I was trying to find where would it go. So I drew these lines here. There's points here. They're starting from here, the low, not here, because it came back down here. You know, you want to go from where it's actually starting to climb, starting to rise. And so I took it from here, and there's actually 3 or 4 points here. I can zoom in, I don't know. Let's see, go the right way. So like that, and then scroll out. So you'll see from this point, this low, and then there's 1, 2, almost 3. This one almost touched here. So I just took it from here and took a general, consensus and average or whatever, and followed it out to, you'll see it's the top line there, and where it came out to. And I just kept pulling that line, and following that same trajectory. And you can see that when it came down here, boom, it hit it almost bang on, and then retested again, and then retested again, and then it finally took off up to that point there. And this is all COVID here. This is, well, from about here somewhere. Just COVID really just affected everything right here. This, I believe, is fairly normal, but right here, boom, coming down here is COVID. And yes, hey, guess what, gang? The Bitcoin gets affected by markets. So if it's a huge worldwide event, Bitcoin will get affected. So, but it came down. Now look at this line here, where it's just hitting here. Now, where did that come from? That line is a line that I drew here, from here to here to here. These points here, I wanted to get as many of those, and it came, and you'll see how Bitcoin follows these. These are called trend lines, and how it really adheres to these trend lines, behaves with, or like, it's almost like a rule, right? And any chart, any coin, any security, any stock will follow these. You find trend lines and it will follow them. And so that's really what I use, is just basically price action, trend lines, and support and resistance lines. This is support, boom, 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 and this is a resistance line, boom. And I do kind of areas when I do resistance lines. So this is an area where I thought it would bounce off, which it did, and then it broke through here, and it kind of consolidated through here, and then it broke through again up to this resistance line. And whenever it breaks through a resistance line, like here or here, it becomes, that resistance line becomes support. So it broke through, that became support, held it, and then broke through this resistance line, or this area, and that became support. And so here there's consolidation, bang, 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 but it broke through, and then it tried to come back up to test that. This resistance value is now resistance. It was support here, but it broke through that, became resistance, and then COVID just, boom, it just took it all the way down to this line, which is really interesting. Okay, so I had that drawn way back here. This one and this one, I took in these three here, and that's where this wasn't even here. This wasn't even here. Somewhere around at this point in time, around September 19, I drew this line and drew it way, way out to see what would happen. And this is what happened. Came way down here, and I just kept pulling it down to see, where it would go. And when this was happening, COVID, that's the interesting thing, because I had it down to here, about here somewhere. So with this was happening, I pulled it way down. I pulled it down, and interestingly enough, COVID hit that just bang on, bang on. Okay, so that's how powerful they can be. How do you use them? Well, you just, once they break either a support like this, then you're looking for it to continue on down to the next support or resistance line. If they break up, like for instance here, it hit this trend line and bounced off in this trend line, and this is obviously a support area, and I had that drawn way, way back here. Okay, way back in 18, summer of 18, and December of 18. So there was an area there. So when it came down here, it hit that support, bounced off, hit this trend line, interestingly enough, and followed that right back down to support again, and bang through this, but they didn't break through the bottom support, and then it carried on, it started climbing again. So with all that said, where's Bitcoin going now? What is the charts and the price actions telling us now? Well, I think the very first thing we should do is, we're way out here, so some of these support and trend line, we should just draw them out further. So I'm just going to draw them all out. And what you do is you just follow. See that how they just you got the little round thing there, and you find where it's just in the middle. Those black dots meet my colored dots perfectly, and that's that line. And these are all support and trend lines. So I'm going to pull that one out too, and pull that out to here. All the same length, right? So we just get that to like that. And we're going all the way out to November. So we're getting into fall, late fall, winter. And like that. And then find this guy, which is right here. Draw him out. And it looks like the lines are right. You got another line in there, so it's kind of hard to see, but I think it's right about there. Yeah. And then, and just keep going. We'll get them all here first. And then we'll just talk a bit about it and where we think it might be heading. Because it's still trying to make its decision, right? We got things happening in the world, and people are, where is Bitcoin going? What do I do? Well, guess what? Don't panic. You do this, and you always have an idea. Now, this one's already drawn way out there, so we'll just pull it back to the same place as these guys. So there. And is this one on par, on level? Yeah, right about there. Okay, so that is our resistance and support lines, okay? Now, let's draw these other lines out and try to keep them true to what we have. So this is very strong. So we want this guy here. And where is it going to go? Let's go all the way out to the same thing. So we're kind of looking at this here, about there. Yeah, something like that. And where was this one going? I had this one right to the ball. Yeah, when it hit this, or when it broke through, So it hit this one perfectly, and when it broke through again, I drew another one. So we'll just take that one, and we'll carry that out, and we'll try to keep it there, right about there. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just all just to give you ideas of where price might go. And you determined what direction it's going to go when it breaks through a support or resistance line. If it breaks through a resistance line, then you're bullish. If it breaks through a support line, then you're bearish. You're looking for it to go down, right? Trend lines, it depends on how strong the trend line is. This one here is a very strong trend line because it met right at a strong resistance line. So this is a strong trend line right here. So we'll just draw that one out. And so trend lines are kind of the same thing. If you're already bullish, for example, like for example here, and it broke through here, and it broke through here, then you're expecting something to happen here, especially where there's a convergence of a trend line and a strong resistance line. You know it's going to stall there, unless there's huge momentum. But look at the momentum down here. Like look at there's just not a whole lot happening here, right? It didn't take much to move it, and then so you know at this point, if you're in a trade, I would get out and just take your profits and hang on and wait to see what it's going to do. And look what it did. It just bounced off there and came down here. Now this one here is a weaker trend line because it just kind of followed this boom, 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 right? But it does kind of give you some guidance. Now, these ones, until it breaks through debt to the downside or whatever, I wouldn't even bother drawing these ones further out because it's well past these guys. So there you have it. So what? And this, by the way, so what I have here is price action alone, just the price action, and I use the Heikin-Ashi. You see that? It says Heikin-Ashi. And the reason why I like the Heikin-Ashi is because it just kind of tells me where the majority of trading has been happening. For instance, today, the majority of trading has been happening. It went all the way down to, it looks like somewhere around to a low 90.84 to a high of 99.72 and 80. But the majority of trading has been below where it opened. Now it opened at 97.82. So right about 97, somewhere around here. No, we'll zoom way out. Take a look at that. This is the day candle, right? Right about there, right? 97.82 it says. Opened. Now the majority of trading has been below that, right? And right now it's sitting below that. We haven't started a new day yet, so it's sitting below that. So what does that tell me? It tells me that today has been not a great day. And if you look down here, you see that the volume has been all basically the bears. It's been quite a bit. So now that's the day. Now, before we zoom down, I really only use the day chart and the 4-hour chart. It's really all I need to do because I'm not a day trader. If you are a day trader, you can zoom down to 30-minute, 15-minute. But I generally just use the day chart and the 4-hour chart. Sometimes the weekly to get a really broad, big picture of what's happening. But now here we are in the day, and get rid of that thing. And we are on June 11th, okay, this candle. So what is happening? Well, it's bouncing right around this. It's still it was in a really big channel here, but it seems to have tightened up a little bit. So that's good news because it means something's about to happen. So it was here, bouncing between this trend line here and up past this resistance line, and it kept shooting past it. past it, but it wouldn't stay up there. It wouldn't close a whole day above there. This one it did, but it came back down. You know, so most majority trading is in this channel. But now, since June 1st, the majority of trading is above this channel. Excuse me. Yeah, have a drink here. This here is now appears to be support. So we zoom in again. This was support all in here, hitting this resistance or this trend line, and then basically